Captain StarLog, February 10th, 2017. Welcome back, guys. As always, I'm still Captain Foley, and I'd like to thank you all for checking out my last Captain's Log. It did cause a bit of controversy in one of the groups on Facebook, but that was soon dealt with. But that leads me to actually what would Captain Kirk do and what today's message overall is. Well, you'll see in a second. Prejudice. It's an awful disease. Walk in the shoes of your enemy before casting aspirations. And when you see an adversary in distress, help them. Be the better person. It's the right thing to do. So I just wanted to share that, guys. Now, there's been a lot going on in regards to a few different things. But I want to just break this Captain's Log down into just two easy sections. First of all, the main topic of today's Captain's Log. Where the hell is the TOS engine room? As a captain of a starship, you'd think you'd know these things, but there's a few conundrums and quandaries that came about recently that my brother mentioned to me, and I've been looking into it, and it's worth discussing at least. And then the second part of this log is going to focus on a few of the latest items that I've acquired, either sent to me by fans of Trekyards or acquired on my own, that I wanted to show you guys and share it with you guys. So I know you don't always want to see one part or the other of the Captain's Log, so I'm starting out with the whole, where's the TOS engine room? Now, this might seem like a simple answer, and it should be. I think it relatively is. You think it's in the secondary hull, right about where the pylons go into the ship, because in the TOS engine room, of course, we see the large power transfer things that come down, and at the force perspective, look back there. Now, when Doug Drexler was at Ticonderoga this last summer talking about it, he and Michael Lakuta had worked out that the feeds from this side go up into the pylon on the opposite side and vice versa. That's why they face the way they do, which is perfectly acceptable. Now, I was talking to my brother the other day, and he brought up something that was rather interesting. If you have these, either in this form or with the more attractive kind of leather case or vinyl case, I guess. These are the TOS blueprints. Now, surprisingly enough, in these blueprints, the engine room that you see in the show is not actually in the secondary hull. Surprisingly enough, it's right behind the impulse engines in the saucer module. Now you're saying, well, how do you know that, Captain Foley? Well, they're on the blueprints themselves. The amazing thing is, these were done by Franz Joseph, and they were signed off on and approved by Gene Roddenberry. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking out there, it's just a show, guys. Get over it. But these little conundrums and idiosyncrasies in Star Trek are what make it fun to talk about. So we're just going to take a quick look here at the engine room that they're talking about, because in the secondary hull, there is actually no engine room where these struts go in. It's not like the one you see on the show anyway. So if you take the side view right there, you can see it says engineering. And that's the engine room we all know and love. You can see those power transfer conduits that I was talking about right there. That's not actually the engine room. There's another engine room here that says engineering, but it's not the same room that's pictured here, which is the one we know, obviously, is from the show. Okay? So, that's the first thing. And if we go to... Here we go. This is Deck 6. See there, you got the engine room there. With the engine room we know and love from the show. Here it is here. This is deck now. Over here, this is deck 7. Yeah, deck 7 plan, main deck. This is the main deck. So there's the engine room. You got the big power units over here. You've got the thing that looks back that the power transfer conduits are in. So this is the main engineering that you see in the show, in the program. And again, here you've got the engineering computers, systems, and things. So that's it there. So it's on deck 6 and 7-ish, according to these plans. Now, again, it's just a show, Stuart. Don't worry about it. And it's true. It is very true. But I'm just going to point something out here. Where the... where they go into this secondary hull here, okay? They go in. You would think that there would be some kind of engineering thing there. Now, I think I just passed it, actually. Yes, here we go. So this is deck 16, where medical and warp drive engineering is. So if we look here, you can see where the struts go in, which is actually right by the shuttle bay. It's right into where the shuttle bay is, and then... Sorry, I thought I had this more organized than this, but I'll have little pop-ups over here showing exactly what I'm talking about. There is a emergency battery room, mess hall. Oh, here it is. Yes, so where the struts go in, here we've got the engineering section, which looks nothing like anything we're used to in the show. Here we have maintenance shops and the engineering computer. But this engineering room is not the one that you see all the time in the show, which I found rather interesting. And I was actually watching the episode Court Martial the other day, and at the end where they're getting rid of everybody's heartbeat on the ship, there's one left, of course, and that's the Finney, the guy that we thought was dead. Spock says, and this is after I'd already come up with this topic to talk about, Spock says that it's located on B deck, somewhere in or near engineering. B deck is the deck right underneath the bridge. So I'm pretty sure that's not engineering. It's not a very big deck. So to say in or around engineering. Now, is it the B deck in the secondary hull? If you're going to label it like that, I know this is canon, but it was before there was canon, and they didn't think it'd be so dissected this show that it would matter where they said things were. I understand that it's just a show. I get it. I know a lot of people are going to say that, but it's true. It's something I want to point out. So there's little inconsistencies like that. I like to think that where Doug Drexler put it on his blueprint for the In a Mirror Darkly is where it is in the secondary hull, right where the struts go into the secondary hull. It makes perfect sense. It accounts for the things going up like that. I think they might have built it like that on purpose, and then when the blueprints came out by Franz Joseph, he put it in the saucer for some reason, because you can see the layout of the engineering room and the, and it looks exactly like it does on screen when we see all our characters and everything in there. So I guess that answers the question kind of where it is. I like to think it is in the secondary hull, right behind the shuttle bay, right, where Doug Drexler has it, where it is on the cutaway poster that's above my 350 refit Enterprise. It's the same place there. And it makes sense with those power transfer feeds. They go all the way up the struts into the warp coils. So, yeah. It's just an interesting fact. My brother brought up the fact that he had remembered seeing it on the blueprints. We were having a Skype call. He showed me his blueprints, and I'm like, really? And then we looked at the secondary hull and found that other engineering section, but it doesn't look the same. So I went and grabbed mine and thought, what a great discussion piece for Captain's Log. So there you have it, guys. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but a lot of interesting little facts and things. So it was mentioned in Court Martial is on B deck, and I'm sure there's other episodes where it was mentioned on whatever deck. Did you guys think it was in the saucer section right behind the impulse engines? No, because it just doesn't make sense. To have it right behind the shuttle bays seems kind of dangerous to me. What if you have a shuttle come in that needs an emergency landing plan B as in barricade, and the barricade doesn't work and it smashes through and hits the engineering? I don't know. Could cause lots of problems, in my opinion. But it makes sense. Because then when we get to the refit Enterprise, you got the long horizontal shaft running down the spine of the secondary hull. The main engineering is down there, and then it feeds up into the impulse crystal at the top, where the impulse engines are on the TOS Enterprise, and the refit Enterprise as well. So it's kind of right below the main tube going up to the impulse engines. So main engineering's there, and then the long shaft runs back that you see in the motion picture and other movies as well. So it makes sense to me that it's in the secondary hull, as anybody would think, because it's called the engineering hull, engineering section. It's what's referred to over the years. So there's that, okay? So yeah, I think that's it for that discussion. I just wanted to point that out. I thought it was pretty interesting. But now I have a bunch of really cool stuff that I want to show you guys. And so if you were just interested in the Where's the Engineering section, please feel free to tune out. But please subscribe, like the video, all that stuff. Share it if you want. I wanted to keep this one kind of short and sweet, and I am doing that. I didn't want to talk about this too much, but I thought it was a very interesting point. And I know showing the blueprints might have been a little bit much, as I have the little pictures up here. But it's something that I think really needs to be talked about and discussed. So yeah, there you have it. So anyway, moving right along to what I got. Yesterday I released a video. I got this in the mail, and I'm not sure who it's from someone anonymous that sent it to me, and that's the D7 Mega Blocks 50th Anniversary Star Trek kit. The Klingon D7, and it's a fantastic build. I put up a video yesterday when I got it. I built it right away, put up a video, and kind of reviewed it, and yeah, so here it is. Got the little disruptor bolts coming off the things, which are cool. I like the placement of those disruptor turrets right there, not on the tips, but on the, I think that's great. I think they did a fantastic job with this. If you haven't checked out the video, I'll put a link in the description below that I build this and talk about this ship, because it's really cool. The display stand is beautiful. It turns. You can mount it on facing up, facing down. I have it facing sideways, which is nice, gives you a nice good look at it. And the only problem I had was a little bit of a problem here with this top piece fitting on properly. And I don't know if I built it wrong. I didn't think I did, but I added like 2 little pieces back here, and it looks perfectly fine. And yeah, great little kit, which is way better than, as my brother pointed out, it's way better than the Creo version, which is based on the JJ ships, which I actually think the Klingon ships from the JJ 2009, the Kobayashi Maru that you see briefly on the computer screens or on the view screen while he's doing the Kobayashi Maru, I think they're amazing ships, although they are called warbirds, Klingon warbirds, so they're a cross between Romulan and Klingon, I guess. But these little kits from Creo were pretty cool. I got the Enterprise, the Kelvin, and this one, which is the Klingon ship, and it actually looks pretty good. It looks pretty decent and pretty spot on for even a Prime Universe D7. Not a warbird, but anyway. My brother disagrees. He thinks it's atrocious, but I really like it. And the scenes of it on the view screen from the movie, it is a nice looking ship. I wish we would have saw more of it in the movie, which we might have, because Nero and his crew got picked up by the Klingon fleet right after the Narada came through and the Kelvin incident there. So, but that leads to my next thing, which I got to thank a friend of mine, Stephen John Hill from the UK. He sent me the last one of the Creo sets that I didn't have, and that is the jellyfish. Here it is here, the little spinny tail. So thank you, Stephen. It was great to get this in the mail. The place that I got them from was a surplus store, and they had every one of them except for the jellyfish. But to add to the collection, I thought might as well get it, and he was nice enough to send it to me, and these have the light up bases, of course, so that's fantastic. So thank you again, Stephen, much appreciated. So I got the jellyfish, I got all of them, and I know I'm not the biggest fan of JJ stuff, but I'm still a Star Trek fan, and I want to watch and appreciate all things Star Trek. And the little kits are very cool, even if it is the JJ Enterprise. I mean, it looks better in Lego, to be honest. The engines aren't disgustingly huge, but yeah, so we have that. Next up, I got a friend of my wife's that she works with. I wanted to get rid of a few things, and we all know, if you follow me on a regular basis, that at Christmas I have the Trekyards tree down here that has all the sci-fi ornaments on it, and so I couldn't pass up the opportunity to get myself this, the Deep Space Nine ornament. Now this comes with the little, really tiny little ships. You got the Defiant. This ornament didn't come with these little ships. These little ships were sold separately in a 3-pack. There is another 3-pack out there that I'm going to order. Is it Sovereign? It's got the TOS Enterprise, the Klingon Bird of Prey, and Enterprise D, I believe. But this one has Voyager, the Sovereign, and the little Defiant. And there's little hooks here that they can hang from, so they kind of become one ornament. I know they're not the scale of each other, but there's also hooks down here on the bottom parts. So if I order those other ones from eBay, I can have all 6 of these ships parked at Deep Space Nine. And I know, again, it's not to scale, but it's a cool thing. A really detailed little model. This does have sound and lights. When I push this button, the sound's atrocious. I just replaced the batteries. They're brand new batteries, but I think the speaker in it is shitty quality because it just sounds awful. It's one of their earlier ones, so. Yeah, talking about the best crew. Cisco talking about his best crew, but it's got the lights here. I wish the sound chip worked a little bit better, but it's got a nice display stand to have it displayed all year round, which I will be doing. It'll be around here somewhere. And then at Christmas, of course, it'll be hung on the tree. Or maybe even set at the base of the tree. I don't know, because I got a lot of ornaments for the tree. But I think it's very cool, and definitely worth showing you guys. And so I picked it. I picked that up, and this watch, which is a next generation watch. The little Galaxy class ship there that goes around as a second hand. Don't have a battery in it right now, but I picked that that ornament, this up, and he gave me a Star Trek the Motion Picture comic book, the first in the comic book series from the motion picture. I got that all for like $50, which is really good. Originally he wanted $50 for just the watch, but not worth that. I'm so sorry, but it's not. So some very cool ornaments. Great gift from Stephen from the UK, so thank you, Stephen, again. But I do like Star Wars as well, and I was at Toys R Us the other day, and I saw a 3-set that I needed to acquire for myself. I picked it up. It was really sitting on the shelf, and it said $60. And I'm like, might be a bit much for that, but let's check it out. Grabbed it off the shelf, took it to the scanner, scanned it at $24, so I had to scoop it up. And it's a 3-set. Comes with 3 droids, which I have here. Just give me a second. So, and this one's from The Force Awakens. So we got C-3PO, the big scale C-3PO with the red arm. And he's got quite a few points of articulation. I do have another one that's this size in the other room with an R2 unit, with R2-D2. And it's actually a gold plated, so it's very shiny and nice. This is a very dull look, but I really like it still. Got articulation in the legs and not so much in the feet, but he stands up good. Looks good with the red arm. I think it's great. So that's one of them that came with it. This is the other one. Another one. There's 3, so this is the second one. This one doesn't have the middle leg like my R2 unit in the other room does. It also doesn't pivot here, which, again, my other R2 unit does. But I love it because we all know that I love R2 units. I actually have a gentleman that's sending me one from Japan. He loves R2 units as well, and he knows my love of R2 units from my captain's logs. He's sending me a gift thing in the mail well, that includes an R2 unit, so I'll show you guys that when it comes in as well. But this guy's name is, I can't recall his name. Hold on a second here. Unfortunately, I seem to have misplaced the little thing that I cut out of the back of the box that has his name and stuff on it, but here he is. His head does turn. There's no detailing on top. This was a special collector's set of droids. And the last one is BB-8 with these little arm attachments for the side of him. It's got a little flat spot on the bottom so he sits fine. His head does a little bit of movement. These pop off, so you can just have the regular BB-8 unit, but I kind of like having the little arm things there. It's pretty cool. So yeah, C-3PO with the red arm, BB-8 with the arm attachments, and nameless guy here. I really wish I could find that. It's really bugged me. I spent literally 10 minutes looking for it, which I edited out. But anyway, so there it is. Love my droids. And the Stephen from the UK that sent me the jellyfish, he also knows I love droids. So he sent this along, which is some of his artwork. He has really great artwork. He drew me a little R2 unit, which is really cool. So thank you, Stephen, again for that. But he's done some really great Star Trek art, either characters or ships. He does both, and he does very well. And he's posted some on the Star Trek, on the Trekyards page. So hopefully you guys have liked the artwork and you know, showing him some support, because he does some fantastic stuff. Now, I did order the Roddenberry Vault from Amazon, but stupid me, I didn't look or think apparently, and I clicked one that's was a little bit cheaper, and I really shouldn't have, because this is the Italian version, including Filmetta mas vista prima d'ora. It's an Italian import version. Unopened. If anyone is interested in this, I won't charge very much, but I need to recoup some of my losses. The only other option is to send it back. It came from overseas. It actually came from Austria. So Amazon, it's a third-party dealer apparently. So I contacted them to return it because it is unopened. It's still sealed. I have to ship it back on my own accord and get tracking information. That costs just as much as this did to get. So I have a Roddenberry Vault. That's an Italian import version. And if anybody out there is interested in it, let me know. Either private message me on Facebook or leave a comment here in the on this video, and I will try to get back to you. And I won't ask very much for it. Kind of like half of what I paid, and then the shipping won't be too much, depending where it's going to, I guess. But so there's that. So I have reordered it. I have a English version coming from Amazon. It should be here any day now. I'm looking forward to checking all the bonus extras and stuff on that. So that is it for today's Captain's Log, guys. Thank you for spending the time with me. Did we find the engineering room? Do you think we solved the mystery? I think we might have. You know, I think Doug Drexler and all the cutaways and Michael and Denise Sakuda, they got it right where I always thought it was, in the secondary hull. I didn't think it was right in front of the shuttle bay necessarily. I thought it was up a little bit further. But anyway, it could be. Who knows? But the Franz Josef designs, even as much as I love Franz Josef, his technical manual, and his other ship designs that Gene Roddenberry signed off on, I might add, thought it was in the saucer section. And Spock himself thought it was on B deck. So there's all those little inconsistencies. But anyway, that's it for today's Captain's Log. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to me ramble about droids who I don't know the names of. This is an R2 somebody unit. And look forward to seeing you again next time. I didn't want to focus too much on any of the negativity that happened this week, because it really affected 2 of my days, and the rest of the time I was fine. So a lot's happened, but everything's good now. And unfortunately, Richard Hatch did pass away 2 days ago. I was lucky enough to get to know Richard Hatch and interview him with Samuel when we were in LA in the summer. So I really appreciate the fact that I got to meet him but he just found out 3 weeks ago that he had pancreatic cancer, and then 3 weeks later he's dead. So it's a real shame. We didn't get to see him in Axanar as the Klingon. I mean, we did see him in Prelude to Axanar, but it would have been nice if it would have been filmed prior to this, and so that we could, you know, have that as a remembrance of him. But we have a lot of remembrances of him, and so I just want to stay positive about that as well. Don't blame CBS for it. I mean, I can see why you might want to, but at the same time, you know, you can't predict the future, and who knows what's going to happen from one day to the next. So it's shitty, but that's just the way it is. And I think we'll call that a wrap there, guys. So thank you for tuning in for this Captain's Log, and I hope to see you next time. I don't know what my topic will be. I might just be addressing comments and questions from this one. I don't know yet. But if you guys know the name of this little guy, if anybody wants an Italian import version of the Roddenberry Vault, let me know. I wish I could find the cardboard that has the information. Anyway, guys, until next time, I'm Captain Foley. Live long and prosper, and be good to each other. Bye-bye.